It's Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the daily happenings in the DC swamp with our federal government and politicians. This is Spathon, and there's some big news today. Big news just dropped regarding the unsealing of the grand jury testimony in the Epstein case. I'll be leading with that in just a minute. DNI Secretary Tulsi Gabbard drops another giant bomb today, revealing a 48-page document, which you can find down in the description of this video. This document, titled The Intelligence Community's Assessment of Russia's Influence Campaign Targeting the 2016 U.S. Presidential Election, which exposes how the Obama administration manufactured the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that they knew was false, promoting the lie that Vladimir Putin and the Russian government helped Donald Trump win the 2016 election. So we'll be checking that out for sure. And there's more things to come, including Senator John Cornyn calls for more illegal alien detention centers to open up in Texas. Also, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA or NOAA, those guys announced a new AI model they are using to predict weather forecasts. One of America's major cities just dropped their sanctuary city policies. And we'll also take a look at the number of adults on probation and parole. And that will be courtesy of the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Trump had just secured a massive trade deal between the U.S. and Japan. We'll take a look at how big that trade deal really is. And there's tons more to get into. So I'm just going to open things up right now and just get started. So we're going to start with Rep. Anna Paulina Luna. Obama-appointed Judge Robin Rosenberg just blocked the unsealing of the grand jury testimony in the Epstein case. In 2023, when Marsha Blackburn tried to subpoena the Epstein flight logs, Democrat Dick Durbin blocked it too. So for 4 years under Biden, Democrats said and did nothing. Now they want to accuse Trump of a cover-up, but the Trump administration and GOP are the only ones taking action. Democrats have been blocking the truth for years, which is funny because I keep looking on X all day long. There's Democrat after Democrat after Democrat demanding the Epstein files be released. They're calling on Trump to release it. They're calling on not only the executive branch, but the judicial branch, the Department of Justice, the FBI. They're calling on everybody to release everything on the Epstein files and anything in the Epstein case for that matter. But we tried to get the grand jury testimony, and a Democrat-appointed judge, an Obama-appointed judge, just completely blocked it. Now, why is that? Don't you think that judge would have aligned pretty closely with Democrats today and their deep desire to see exactly what's in the Epstein files? I would just like to know exactly why. And I wish Anna Paulina Luna would be more detailed about it. She isn't. And frankly, I have to put a lot together in order to start this show. So I really honestly didn't have a chance to dig in very deep to see exactly what the judge's reasoning was for it. But I'm absolutely going to take a look after this is over. And if there's further details on it, there may be, there may not be. I'm assuming there probably will be. And if there is, then I'll mention that tomorrow. I'll go over that and give any details. If the judge will give any details, I mean, for all I know, the only thing that we'll get is just the word denied. And that might just be that. So, I mean, that sucks. So I'm assuming there's going to be some appeals process. We'll see. Probably won't go anywhere, but I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It's almost as if maybe the Trump administration just knew. I mean, of course, Trump isn't surprised. Everything that he tries to get done, these exact federal judges, they're blocking him at every single turn. They just block constantly. So maybe that's why Trump said, you know what, just unseal the grand jury testimony, because he just knew in the back of his mind that they're just going to block it because everything Trump wants done, the judges are like, nope, Trump ordered it, nope, block, instant block, nope, we ain't doing that. Hell no, fuck that. No, Trump wants it. No, fuck him. Nope, we ain't doing that shit. Blocked. Denied. So we're just going to deny it across the board. Who knows? Whatever. Just my personal opinion there. So this next post here from Secretary Kristi Noem. The evil of human trafficking cannot be overstated. It's modern-day slavery. By leaving our borders open and even encouraging people to come here illegally, Biden enabled the largest human trafficking operation in modern history. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to eradicate human trafficking operations targeting the United States under the leadership of President real Donald Trump, and working together at every level of government, we can win this fight, and we will. Thank you, CPAC, for highlighting this critical issue. Yes, God willing, God willing, God willing. So this is from the Social Security Administration, their X profile. Today, the Social Security Administration released the following statement following Commissioner Bizignato's meeting with Senator Warren. Quote, Commissioner Bizignano had, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. My apologies, Commissioner Bizignato. I'm sure you're listening to this. You totally are. Everybody's listening to this, right? Just kidding. But anyway, he had a productive meeting with Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, where he presented improved customer service metrics that are currently being realized on the phone, in field offices, and online. Senator Warren, Pocahontas, reacted positively to many of the indicators, specifically lower phone and field office wait times, the reduction of the disability claims backlog by 25%, and the speed at which the SSFA payments were completed 5 months ahead of schedule. Commissioner Bizignano agreed with Senator Warren, her suggestion to have SSA OIG audit the numbers he provided to the senator, which were prepared using long-held measurement methodology by the dedicated federal workforce at SSA. Now, there's some people that beg to differ with this down here in the comments. Not that one exactly. Not what will she bitch about. I mean, we know there's plenty she's going to be bitching about. There's always going to be fucking something. I don't know why I'm going to play this, but this is a load of barnacles. Yeah, load of barnacles, whatever. No, so here we go. Not only do we need better customer service, but we also need to increase the monthly amount for all retirees, not by a few cents, but by hundreds. I mean, I kind of agree there, definitely. Depending on how much you're paying in, how long you're paying into Social Security. I mean, we can thank our federal officials for more or less draining the Social Security coffers over the years. I mean, there's a reason why they say by the time millennials hit senior citizen age, there isn't going to be a Social Security paycheck or check at all to give to millennials when they retire. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. But this comment here, what about a stimulus check for low-income retirees living on Social Security and suffering from high inflation? I mean, this doesn't really have to do with the customer service and payments processing, but I just figured I'd read it anyway. We've seen the government announce high incomes thanks to the tariffs and savings they've made, but we poor people haven't seen any of that. I mean, that's what sucks about inflation, man. That's really what sucks about it. I mean, things just get more and more expensive, but wages don't really seem to move when inflation happens. So anyway, the wait time is still an hour and a half. That was one of the big ones I wanted to get to. So somebody's still complaining, saying that, no, the phones are not any faster. The wait times aren't any quicker. There's at least one person down here that's saying that they're calling bullshit on it. And from Pal, are you going to make sure spousal benefits are retro paid back to January 2024 as the Fairness Act called for? Senator Collins and Cornyn were asking for that instead of the 6 months now being paid. Yeah, of course, I wouldn't trust Senator Warren either. Shorter office times, not seeing it, and the time to complete claims is getting longer. All right. Approve my appeal. Well, I mean, you're going to have to get more closely in touch with them than in a X comment feed. Yeah, my husband's appeal. The mistake has taken over 3 years. Been waiting on a court date in New Jersey for almost a year. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Your customer service stinks. Ooh. When was the last time the commissioner actually called the 800 number? Oh, that's actually a fair question. That's a good question. Pocahontas should have asked him that if she didn't. Congratulations, SSA. That won't please Pocahontas. She still wants you audited. Liz, Trump's plan is working. Go find something else to complain about. So I'll just leave it there. Actually, I think I have to leave it there. I think that was all there was to read. So where were we here? Why did that go down so far? All right, so DOJ spokesperson 47, quote, either DEI will end on its own or we will kill it. Let's give this a listen. I have not listened to this yet. Matter of fact, there might be only 1 or 2 videos on this list that I put together that I have actually listened to from start to finish. I don't particularly like to listen to them before I record this episode because I want to react as it goes. So anyway, let's give this a listen. Hopefully it's not too loud. I don't think it is, but we'll see.
Either DEI will end on its own, or we will kill it. Here are some of the ways we have taken steps to end DEI in education. First, as a result of multifaceted investigations into illegal DEI-based discrimination, harassment, and abuse at major so-called elite universities and colleges, the division is now in discussions with many educational institutions to end all unlawful DEI programs throughout these schools.
Good. They're all
including
evil.
in their law, medical,
Cut their federal
nursing,
funding.
and other specialty disciplines.
They have way too much in endowments anyway.
We
Fuck
are
'em.
actively investigating several prominent colleges and universities regarding rampant anti-Semitism,
Harvard.
resulting in discussions aimed at ending anti-Semitic abuse on college campuses nationwide. Third, starting in April, we open investigations into 50 major universities, 16 top law schools, and 7 medical schools by sending letters requesting any changes to admissions processes post Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard. We are also investigating racially discriminatory admissions practices at selective public high schools. Fourth, we are engaged in several lawsuits and investigations into Title IX discrimination against the rights and safety of women and girls in classrooms, athletic fields, dormitories, and other facilities. As a result of our efforts, several institutions have reversed course already. Fifth, we are investigating the University of California for its race and sex-based discriminatory hiring practices.
Illegal!
Under UC's 2030 capacity plan. The Civil Rights Division has also acted in various employment-related matters. First, we are investigating Minnesota's hiring and employment practices. State policies appear to require agencies to engage in illegal race and sex-based hiring and violation
That is
of Title
illegal. We all know that, don't we?
We are investigating the Hennepin County Attorney's Office policy that requires race-based decision-making in plea agreements. The investigation is ongoing, though that office has refused to cooperate with our investigation. Third, we're investigating Rhode Island regarding its affirmative action plan that sets race-based hiring goals across its government. In light of Rhode Island's refusal to cooperate, we're assessing our next steps under Title VII. Fourth, we're investigating Chicago's racially discriminatory hiring practices permeating its government. This is just a small fraction of the extensive portfolio of actions we have taken toward ending DEI in my first 100 days in office.
Alrighty. That's it. We'll see where that goes. I mean, I don't even have to explain why that's illegal. It's been illegal all this time for, 60 years now. It's been fucking illegal what they've been doing. I mean, they haven't necessarily been doing this for 60 years. It's only been fairly recent, but I mean, it's just kind of ironic how they championed the Civil Rights Act, and they claim that Democrats were the ones that wrote it, even though they really weren't. It was Republicans that actually wrote the act. It was just Democrats that just kind of hijacked it and made it their own. Just to virtue signal, just to get, more minorities on their team to vote for them and whatnot, but not going into the weeds on that. It's just, it's just absolutely despicable. It's disgraceful, especially what's happening in our university system. I mean, our education system, our scientific community, it's just all been hijacked by just these woke idiots that are just absolutely brain dead and retarded. And hopefully things will get back on track, because I mean, you really can't even trust .edu websites anymore. Can't really trust many of the scientific websites anymore. I'd like to. There's really nowhere else to look to. And it's really frustrating. It's just appalling on every level. And they know it. That they want that. They want to sow the seeds of a division, and they want to create confusion. And that's just what they want. Some people just want to watch the world burn. They just want the chaos. They want the corruption. They just want the power. So, all right, well, we'll see how that progresses in the future. Anyway, from Senate Republican, Senator John Cornyn, he calls for more illegal alien detention facilities to be open in Texas. Quote, I'd encourage our governor as well as Secretary Noem to explore the possibility of locating future detention facilities in Texas. Yeah, and I agree. I think basically every state needs detention facilities, if you ask me.
The state of Florida has stepped up to the plate recently, helping the administration to open a detention facility.
Because Florida is awesome.
Come to be known as Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that other states will step up to help in similar ways.
Look, Democrats, they kept making fun of Trump when he kind of made that lighthearted joke about creating the border wall, or the big beautiful wall at the southern border, and putting this really long alligator moat. Actually, he didn't even mention the moat. He just mentioned putting alligators in the Rio Grande or some shit like that, and they were just making fun of him all up and down. So he's like, all right, fine. You know what? I'm going to lean into this shit. I'm going to open up this big-ass detention facility in the middle of the Everglades where there are real alligators, 2 million, in fact, if not more than them. So now we got an alligator moat that's what, hundreds of thousands of square miles. So how do you like that, Democrats?
The way to make something like this work in Texas, I would strongly support it. And I'd encourage our governor as well as Secretary Noem to explore the possibility of locating future detention facilities.
Yeah, let's do it, man. They can't be that expensive. I mean, not as expensive as building, let's say, prisons to house them for the next 30, 40 years. Now, I get it. If they break federal laws, if they commit major crimes in the United States, they got to go to prison one way or another. I just don't like to see them just wind up in some American prison with nice clean water and air conditioning, and they get their tablets with the internet on it and get to play on social media all day and all that stupid shit. I mean, send them wherever. Send them to El Salvador, or let's open up a new detention facility in I don't know, Guatemala, or let's expand fucking Gitmo or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, detention facilities, the more the merrier. I mean, we've got tens of millions of illegals. I'm not saying that women and children should be placed in detention facilities long term, but they need to get processed somewhere. And yeah, we just got to open up more of them, because there's, like I said, millions and millions and millions and millions of illegals, and it's time to go. All right, so this is from the U.S. Commerce Department. Watch. NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, debuts a new AI model that generates regional weather forecasts in 7 minutes, predicting weather up to 48 hours in advance. They're about to start rolling this out. They're about to start using this shit.
Quickly can these be run?
AI,
How long would a sample model run take to complete?
So we just actually did estimates the other day, and we plan to run 11 ensemble members that we can fit 4 ensemble members on one GPU. Fall down, lady. And it would take to produce 48-hour forecast in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Based on our estimates.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And to run 11 ensemble members that we can fit 4 ensemble members on one GPU, and it would take to produce 48-hour forecast in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Based on our estimates.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. And also, they're also implementing this, like I said the other day, with hurricane tracking. There's the American model, the GFS, the European model. So those two, they run the spaghetti plots. They also do the cone, the direction at which the hurricanes are heading. They're also implementing an AI model that they're supposed to be using starting this hurricane season. They were practicing with it, running the simulations and everything last year, predicting it. Behind the scenes, it wasn't publicly known or anything. They were just running tests last year just to see how it would work. I want to say it's Google who was the company who actually was behind that AI modeling for this new hurricane tracking system that they're going to start using. But apparently they're doing that now. And matter of fact, I don't actually know. I don't think there's any hurricanes out there right now, are there? I don't believe so. I live in Florida. I live in St. Pete, so usually I'm in the know when it comes to hurricanes that are forming out there. But I will just check, because I don't see any. No, that kind of sucks, because... Oh, wait, hold on. Slight chance of development. Do they have a spaghetti plot on that? Nope. No spaghetti plot on it. It's because it's right here. That's what that X means. That means that the low-pressure system is currently right here, and it's moving this way. And this yellow blob, that's where they believe that it could develop into a tropical depression or greater anywhere in this yellow bubble, but they don't expect it to develop in anything from this point to that point. So, but if there was a spaghetti plot, they're supposed to be adding it into here. This is just my local Bay News 9. This is just what I use for just keeping track of the weather. But they don't have any spaghetti models here because there's nothing to look at. So that kind of sucks, because I was hoping to be able to see that. But there's supposed to be 3. So there's GFS ensemble, the consensus models. There's supposed to be 3. The American, the European, and the AI version. I don't even know what they're going to call it. I'm assuming they're just going to probably call it AI model or AI ensemble or some shit. So I'll be looking for that. I'll be looking forward to that for sure, because apparently, according to the guys behind the scenes, that AI model was a lot more accurate than they were expecting it to be. So, and that's why they're planning on rolling it out for this hurricane season, but they're also applying it to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration as well. Not the same model, different AI model, but still the same basic concept, predicting weather. All right, so let's move on. Homeland Security. President Trump and Secretary Noem are locking criminals up. Sanctuary City politicians are unleashing them. Of course they are, because they're a bunch of brain-dead retards. All right, so let's check this out. New York Post. I know there's an article here somewhere, so let me grab this in a new private window because I want to keep myself private. All right, so Trump administration sent 6,000 ICE detainers to New York City, and nearly all of them have been ignored, DHS says. And we know that from at least 2 of them because they they literally shot a CBP officer who was off duty the other day on their stupid-ass rinky-dink moped. And thank God the CBP officer was armed, and he defended himself and ended up shooting one of those assailants, and one of them apparently died on the way to the hospital because his stupid-ass buddy dropped him off in front of the hospital and took off like a bitch. But they've been arrested, or he has been arrested. I believe the other guy's dead. So, who gives a shit? But, all right, so let's see what this says here. So, as soon as I get rid of this, New York Post with your damn ads. All right, the Trump administration has issued more than 6,000 immigration detainers, pushing NYC authorities to hand over illegal immigrant criminals to the feds as part of its mass deportation effort, the Department of Homeland Security said on Wednesday. Let me make this a little bigger if I can. That's a 400% increase compared to the Biden administration as the Trump administration surges immigration and customs enforcement to sanctuary cities, the DHS said. However, sanctuary politicians in the Big Apple have honored only a handful of the 6,000 detainers, sending violent criminals back onto the streets, the agency said in a post on X. There's Mayor Adams, soon to be ex-mayor, and they're most likely going to get, what's his name, like ultra DEI, extreme woke. I can't remember his name. Trump absolutely hates him, and I'm sure for very good reason. Anyway, every New Yorker should know their sanctuary politicians are working against law enforcement and releasing criminal illegal aliens with prior convictions for rape, murder, and drug trafficking back into their communities, DHS said on Wednesday. ICE will continue to enforce the law and protect American neighborhoods, the DHS added. And I believe that's all we got, right? Oh, no, there's a little more. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem tore into Mayor Eric Adams on Monday over the city's sanctuary policies, blaming him for the shooting of an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer by an illegal immigrant who has a lengthy rap sheet. Yeah, he was arrested 4 other times in New York City. He was arrested as an illegal alien, and then they let him go. He got arrested again, let go, arrested again, let go, arrested again, let go, and then he shot this guy. Adams said that he wants to change sanctuary laws in New York, but he's constrained by city council. Well, I still don't believe you, man. Don't believe you. I'll believe it when I see it. Dominican illegal migrant Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez, age 21, had already received a deportation order before he allegedly ambushed the officer and his female companion at Fort Washington Park late on Saturday, Noem said. There's absolutely zero reason that someone who is scum of the earth like this should be running loose on the streets of New York City, Noem told reporters from Harlem Hospital, where she and President Trump's borders are. Tom Homan said they met with the wounded 42-year-old agent's family. Make no mistake, this officer is in the hospital today fighting for his life because of the policies of the mayor of the city and the city council, and the people that were in charge of keeping the public safe refused to do so, she said. When I look at what Mayor Adams has done to New York City, it breaks my heart to see the families that have suffered because of his policies. Absolutely. And as Mayor Adams pointed out, not just from him, but from the stupid-ass city council, they're also to blame. So there you have it. Yeah, defund the police. How's that working out for y'all? All right, so from Stephen Miller, who reposted Into Wokeness, he just comments, wow, and that's in reference to Rep. Yvette Clarke, Democrat from New York, says, I need more migrants in my district for redistricting purposes. This is how you hijack democracy. Let's take a look at this.
Brooklyn, New York, we have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
She said it out loud. They fucking said it out loud. Got him. Actually, she got herself. Fucking idiot, man. That's exactly why they opened the floodgates, because they want more congressional seats. This is how the Democrats will attempt to win the long game. They just want to flood their districts with more and more illegal immigrants, because the more people there are, regardless if they're a citizen or not, they will get more seats in the House. That is what they want. They want to cheat their way into power because they're a bunch of fucking communists. Bunch of nihilists. They're communists, they're socialists. You could give them whatever buzzword you want to give them. They're all the above. That's ultimately what they are. They're the real fascists. All right, so let's move on to the FBI. Operation Gray Skull represents one of the most significant strikes ever made against child sexual abuse material websites on the dark web. Every arrest in these cases not only delivers justice, it sends a powerful message. You cannot hide behind anonymity to harm children. Let's watch this here. It's very quiet. FBI.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kash Patel,
Here we go.
Director of the FBI.
Yeah, Kash
I'm
Patel.
excited to announce the results of a global operation to take down 4 of the biggest child sexual abuse sites on the dark web and bring the criminals who operated them to justice. As a result of Operation Grayskull, the FBI arrested 19 subjects here in the United States, and working with our international partners, helped coordinate additional arrests in 7 more countries.
All right.
Shockingly, many of these perpetrators had no prior criminal records. They were people we knew and trusted, neighbors, colleagues, and family members. They were active in our communities and around our children. This is why we must stay vigilant. Investigations like this are thorough and resource intensive. They often take years due to the complexity of tracking perpetrators on the dark web. Specialized teams like the FBI's Child Exploitation Operational Unit work tirelessly to find those who harm our children and put them behind bars. Through global partnerships and dedicated resources, the FBI works to ensure that all children have the chance to grow up safe and free from exploitation. Rest assured, we will keep hunting these criminals no matter where they are. Thank you for keeping our children safe.
And also, 300,000 illegal immigrant children are missing inside our country. 300,000. And that's obviously not even including American children that are being exploited as well. So, very scary. And that's great that the FBI is digging further into it. I'm sure that if they were to get to the bottom of everything, I think it would absolutely be just terrifying on every single level if we actually saw the extent as to what's going on that we're not even aware of. All right, so moving on to Jim Byron. The National Archives is delivering what the American people want to see. The MLK assassination files released on July the 21st are the top downloaded files across all U.S. government websites in the last 7 days, even more than passport applications. What? So records related to the assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 56,616 downloads, and that's on archives.gov. And then they've got the other downloads, just showing the statistic as to how many were downloaded for that. So let me see if I can actually bring that up. I actually didn't even really think to do that. I'll see if I can do that. So let me just go to Google. Let me see if that brings up records related. Here we are, July 21st. Order 14176. So the 2025 release. Holy smokes, hold on a minute. The table below displays the file names and links to all of the documents released related to the assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. July 21st, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. release. 243,496 pages. Holy shit. 6,301 different PDF files. And there's one MP3 audio file. Oh my God, dude. 6,302 entries. Dude, I can't look at all this. Wow, man, people are going to be pouring over this information probably for years, man. So June 68, what we learned from, let me just click on the top one. Let's just see what this shows. All right, so it's actually scanned. Dude, you can't read any of it. We learned from, what does that say, Reuters? Looks like it says Reuters. That, I don't even know, something Yard has arrested James Earl Ray. Is that what it was? Notice of this. Let's see. Let me just click on one more. I'm just curious. Yes, this shit is in terrible condition. Proof pass sterile photo with stipulations. For reference, will so advise. End of message. All right. Deleted. Situation information. I'll just click on the last one here. Yeah, see, that one looks a little bit better. Situation information report. Activities of possible interest. Tentatively scheduled for the fall of 1968. Newly surfaced activities or are changed details on activities listed in previously printed calendars. San Diego, California. Dr. Ben Spock. London Times. Canada. Washington, D.C. Good grief, man. Dude, there's got to be like hundreds of thousands of pages. Hundreds of thousands of pages, man. All right, so I don't have time to go through it. I actually have a lot to get to, but I will link this in the description. I'll just copy this right here and just drop it below. So if you want, you could just check it out anytime you want. It's at the bottom of the description, or in the description of my video. So I'll just have to move on from there. But that is amazing, man. I mean, I heard that they were releasing files with regard to MLK Jr.'s assassination. I didn't know how much. Good grief. That is a shitload. Uh-oh. And I just clicked out of my bookmarks. Uh-oh. Where are they? Sometimes I do that. I screw up. I'm still a little bit rusty on this. So, all right. So we did that. We did that. We did that. And we did that. And as well as that and that. Okay. All right. My bad. Sorry. So here's another one of the big stories that happened today. Probably the biggest story. That and also the whole grand jury testimony bullshit. But this is from DNI Tulsi Gabbard. New evidence has emerged of the most egregious weaponization and politicization of intelligence in American history. Per President Donald Trump's directive, I have declassified a House Intel Oversight Majority Staff report that exposes how the Obama administration manufactured the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that they knew was false, promoting the lie that Vladimir Putin and the Russian government helped President Trump win the 2016 election. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people, working with their partners in the media to promote the lie in order to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump, essentially enacting a years-long coup against him. Here are the top Obama-Russia hoax lies debunked by today's release. And she's got an image here. I know it's small, so she actually dropped a thread. So I'll go ahead and just read the thread. I believe that the thread that she details goes into detail on this image. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty with that. So first, I'm going to go ahead and click on this just to bring it up. That way I'll link it into the description. So this is 46 pages in total. So this is the oversight, investigation, and referral from September 18th of 2020. It's the intelligence community assessment, quote, Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 U.S. presidential election, end quote, a document of which was completely fabricated. All fake, all lies. It's a hoax, big giant hoax. So that's going to be linked. And let me get into her thread here. All right, let's go. Let's dive in, man. Let's see what we got here. So, lie. Putin and the Russian government helped Trump win the 2016 election. Here's the truth. President Obama, former director of the CIA, John Brennan, and others fabricated the Russia hoax, suppressed intelligence showing Putin was preparing for a Clinton victory, manufactured findings from shoddy sources, disobeyed IC standards, intelligence community standards, and knowingly lied to the American people. And there's the graphic. So moving on next, the lie. Fabricated Steele dossier. There it is. The Steele dossier was not used as a source in the Obama administration's January 2017 intelligence community assessment of the November 2016 election. Here's the truth. Not only did CIA Director Brennan, FBI Director Comey, DNI, Clapper, and others include the Steele dossier in the 2017 ICA, they overruled senior intel officials who warned them it was fabricated and should not be used. They just put it in there anyway, which we all knew this. We all knew this, but it's nice to see it finally come out and be official that they did lie. They're all a bunch of fucking liars. So here's another lie. The Obama administration's January ICA was an independent intelligence community product produced with apolitical analysis. Here's the truth. Obama ordered the intelligence community to create an intelligence community assessment they knew was false, promoting a contrived narrative with the intent of undermining the legitimacy and power of a duly elected president of the United States, Donald Trump. Good grief. All right, so here we go. Together, the ODNI Gov records released on Friday, the Justice Department's June 2018 report known as the Clinton Annex, released earlier this week, and the House Intel Oversight report we released today confirm what many Americans have known. The Russia hoax was a lie that was knowingly created by the Obama administration to undermine the legitimacy and power of the duly elected president of the United States, Donald Trump. There you go. So that's the big news of the day, 100%. And I'm sure everybody's talking about it. I'm sure that there's got to be tens of thousands of comments at this point. I mean, that comment's only, this string of comments is probably pertaining to just this last thread post here. But absolute bombshell news, big news indeed. And 6,900 comments in total. It already has almost 5 million views. She just dropped this about 9 hours ago. And it's got to be the talk of the town for the day, without any doubt. So if you want, you could read the entire report, the entire over 40-page report. It's downloadable on PDF. You can dig right into it. I'm sure there's going to be lots of other people that are going to be picking that apart and seeing what all is included in it, but she did give the gist of what it was. I'm just curious to see what happens from here. I'm assuming that there's going to be referrals for criminal prosecution. I believe there actually already is. I think that I'm sure that Tulsi Gabbard's probably referred all of this information to the DOJ for an investigation, a criminal one. At least I sure should hope so, because heads have got to roll over this. I mean, this is absolutely egregious. But of course, we've known this all along. And of course, the Democrats have been denying it the entire time. It's just one more thing that they called a conspiracy that we've been proven correct on again and again and again and again. So that's awesome. Very, very good that was finally released. We're finally getting the actual truth out for all to see. So I don't know if there's going to be any more that she's going to release. I'm assuming perhaps. Let's see the final. All right, so here, hold on. Let me just read this here. It's from Rep. Rick Crawford. News Today, DNI Gabbard declassified the 2017 HPSCI majority staff report, which is the final nail in the coffin of the Russia hoax, which has perpetrated the greatest political fraud on the American people for over 8 years and undermined President Trump's first term in office. This report, for the first time, exposes in-depth details on how the intelligence community manufactured the Russia collusion hoax. So, final nail in the coffin. Not sure if he's making the point that this may be the last bit of information we're going to get from this. I'm not sure. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if anything else comes out of it. But if not, then hopefully the Justice Department is going to get to work and start indicting some of these people. They've got to get indicted for this shit. They cannot get away with that, because the Democrats, if they get away with it, not only are they going to double down and do the same thing all over again, they're going to do it up even worse than they did before. So, and this is a video clip of Tulsi Gabbard making her announcement. DNI Gabbard, there is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Barack Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false.
At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified oversight majority staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016.
Which is ironic because they always talk about our democracy. We have to uphold our democracy, protect our democracy.
They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice.
Amen. Anyone out there watch left-wing news today? I mean, I wonder if they made any mention of this whatsoever. I somehow have a feeling that they tried to bury as much of this as possible. Of course, there's the majority of the people that are in the room are going to be liberal media because the majority of the mainstream media, vast majority of it, is left-wing media. I'm just curious to know exactly how are they spinning this, because I'm sure they're not telling it exactly as it is. CNN, MSNBC, everybody. I'd be curious to know exactly how they're treating this news. Are they downplaying it? Are they just outright ignoring it? All of it's possible. Well, not even possible, probable, really. All right, so let's move on. From the Treasury Department, counselor to Secretary Scott Bessent and Joseph Laverna. One of the things we've recently observed is that data already shows that there is a CapEx comeback. Hold on, I actually looked that up earlier. So CapEx, it's capital. I'm trying to remember exactly what that was. So let me look this up real quick before I read any further, because I may not be the only one who doesn't know what that is. So in finance, capital expenditure, that's what it was, capital expenditure. So, for example, in the current year, the company's CapEx is expected to be in the region of $200 million. So in simple terms, CapEx, I'm only showing this because they're going to reference that multiple times in this post. A capital expenditure, or CapEx, is the purchase of long-term physical or fixed assets used in a business's operations. All right, so that's what CapEx is. So one of the things we've recently observed is that data already shows that there is a CapEx comeback. And what we've seen in the official data is a 24% jump in the first quarter, and the Fed suggests that we're going to see an 11% increase in quarter two, which would put us on track for a first half increase in CapEx of 17%. To put that in context, it would be the biggest two-quarter increase excluding the pandemic, going all the way back to 1997. This CapEx comeback, which will fuel productivity and further gains in blue-collar wages, is the direct result of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which reintroduced 100% expensing for CapEx. Now that the law is permanent, we are going to get more CapEx going forward that will broaden and lengthen a boom that will ultimately benefit U.S. families and workers.
Does this imply a big jump in capital expenditures, CapEx spending, in the immediate future?
Video.
Yes, I'm actually happy you mentioned that, Stu, because one of the things we've recently observed is that overlooked data already show there is a CapEx comeback, meaning companies are spending on capital. They're buying industrial equipment, transit equipment, machinery, information processing and equipment. That'd be computers, software, things of that sort. And what we've seen
AI,
in
that
the official
the
data
worker.
is a 24% jump in the first quarter, and data from the Fed suggests we're going to see an 11% increase in Q2, which would put us on track for a first half increase in CapEx of 17%, which, just to put that in context, would be the biggest two-quarter increase, excluding the pandemic, going all the way back to 1997. And this CapEx comeback, which will fuel productivity and further gains in blue-collar wages, is the direct result of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which reintroduced 100% expensing for CapEx. Yep. And this is key. It dates back to Inauguration Day. So companies, in anticipation of that bill getting done, and it got done as the president wanted on July 4th, started their capital expenditure early. Now that the law is permanent, we're going to get more CapEx going forward that will broaden and lengthen a boom that will ultimately benefit U.S. families and workers.
You know, I did ask Google recently, what are we going to do with the whole situation with AI taking over jobs, or the displaced workers? Like, what are they going to do when AI takes their jobs? And Google said, well, just get an AI support role, because AI is creating new jobs. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to service and maintain this AI infrastructure. It's like, are you kidding? Is that really the best answer you got? So are you seeming to suggest that the creation of AI is going to create more jobs than it's displacing? Because I somehow doubt that. Otherwise, what would really be the point? I mean, if AI is only going to lead to more people that have to get hired, and companies. That doesn't, it sounds like more of a financial loss than a benefit. So yeah, Google doesn't have the answers. They really don't. And it's kind of scary. I mean, that's not in reference to this post necessarily. I'm just throwing out just some offhand remark. So let's go on to the U.S. Department of Justice. Louisville. It's the city of Louisville. They are dropping their sanctuary city policies, which should set an example for other cities across the country. Just simply follow the damn law and then get rid of sanctuary policies because it's bullshit and it's not good for American citizens. And work with us to fix the illegal immigration crisis. Absolutely. So instead of forcing us to, sue you. Follow the law and get rid of the policies and so on. All right, so from Homeland Security, President Trump and Secretary Noem are empowering the men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard like never before. This powerful branch of our military will continue to be our primary force charged with breaking up international maritime smuggling rings. So the Coast Guard overhaul takes off amid Trump administration's immigration narcotics crackdown, and this piggybacks off of that. And the Coast Guard overhaul takes off amid Trump administration's immigration and so on and so forth. Immigration and narcotics crackdown. Recent proposals to overhaul the Coast Guard include installing a Secretary of the Service. Ooh, alrighty then. All right, let's make this a little bit bigger. Text is a little small here on Fox. Oh my God, dude. This is so annoying. All right. I guess it goes up a little bit. So efforts to overhaul the Coast Guard are gaining traction on Capitol Hill, coinciding with the Trump administration's endeavor to revamp the service to address illegal migrant crossings and drug seizures. Multiple initiatives to update the Coast Guard are underway in both chambers of Congress and within the Department of Homeland Security. All seek to elevate the service so it's on par with the other branches of the military that fall under the Department of Defense, and better equip it to tackle drug and immigration interdiction missions. House legislation authorizing funding for the service through 2029 recently cleared a committee vote and aims to empower the service to conduct these missions, according to Rep. Mike Ezell, who's a Republican of Mississippi and a co-sponsor of the Coast Guard Authorization Act of 2025. Quote, the Coast Guard is very similar to law enforcement, Ezell told Fox News Digital on July 16th. It's going to fight the narcotics epidemic that we have coming into the country. Our Coast Guard officers and men and women are going to really be able to go after that. I thought the Coast Guard's been doing this all along. I thought the Coast Guard, they make drug busts all the time, I thought. Like going way back, like the 80s, the 70s, and so on. Anyway, such missions are only increasing for the Coast Guard. DHS announced July 15th that the service had seized a total of 242,244 pounds of coke. Damn, that's a lot of snow. Since President Donald Trump took office in January, that amounts to a more than 100% increase in seizures in comparison to the same time frame in 2024 during the Biden administration, according to DHS. Ezell, along with Reps. Sam Graves, Republican of Missouri, Rick Larson, Democrat of Washington, and Salud Carvajal, Democrat in California, introduced the Coast Guard Authorization Act July 2nd, and the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee passed the measure July 15, paving the way for the measure to head to the House floor. One of the most significant provisions in the legislation would establish a civilian secretary of the Coast Guard to align more similarly with the other branches of the military that fall under the Department of Defense. The Coast Guard falls under the jurisdiction of DHS and does not have a top civilian leading the service. Installing a secretary of the service will streamline some of this red tape that we've seen over the years that slowed progress down, because he or she will report directly to the White House and Congress, eliminating multiple layers of bureaucracy, according to Ezell. I'm honestly surprised that they don't have a secretary of the Coast Guard. Or like they said, a civilian that's leading the Coast Guard. That just really surprises me. But yeah, I mean, like the Coast Guard's always it's not technically considered one of the primary branches of the military, and I've never really understood why, to be honest. I mean, I know most of what they do is search and rescue and border defense in some capacity or another. That's just always kind of surprised me. But anyway, this person is going to be instrumental in getting things done. So, coming from my background as a sheriff and the chief of police, I know the importance of coordinating with other agencies to get the job done, Ezell said. When you have one person that's a point of contact who will put all the information out from the president, from the DHS secretary, it will be so much simpler. Prior to being elected to the House, Ezell served as a law enforcement officer for over 40 years, including serving as sheriff of Jackson County, Mississippi. Senators Rick Scott of Florida and Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia introduced legislation in the Senate in April that would similarly establish a Secretary of the Coast Guard. The establishment of a Secretary of the Coast Guard is an important step in ensuring our nation's maritime security is led with the strength and efficiency it deserves to ensure it can fulfill its mission and adapt to any challenges, Scott said in an April statement. So I will link the article. There's plenty more to read through, but I'll link it, of course, as with everything else, and you can read the rest of it in your own time if you so choose. So this comes from Senator Jim Banks. Proud to announce my first bill passed the Senate last night. It protects American tech from communist China and keeps it out of adversaries' hands. Now it's headed to President Trump's desk. I mean, we'll see what he says about it. I don't know how detailed he gets in just 45 seconds time. I just know that China, they have a knack for getting a hold of our technology, reverse engineering it, and then essentially copying it and making the same tech for themselves. I'm sure Huawei did that with the iPhone. They've done it with all kinds of stuff. China steals an estimated $500 billion worth of American intellectual property on an annual, every year basis. So if we're going to keep having China manufacture our electronics and our technology, they're going to steal it. They just simply are, because the CCP, they consider anything that's on Chinese soil to be subject to search and seizure by the communist or the Chinese Communist Party, and they do that. So if a company like Apple goes over to China and starts manufacturing their iPhones, the government can step in there anytime they want and take all the files out of the file cabinets. They could take anything from their computers and everything, essentially all of the blueprints and all of the IP, and they could seize it, and they could do whatever the hell they want with it because they're on Chinese soil. Who's going to stop them? They're the CCP. So to be honest, if they really want the Chinese to stop stealing American tech, we just got to stop producing it in China. But anyway, I'll shut the fuck up. I'll just let them go.
I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 1316 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report.
H.R. 1316, an act to amend the Export Control Reform Act of 2018 relating to licensing transparency.
Is there an objection to proceeding?
2018.
Without objection. The committee is discharged and the Senate will proceed.
I ask unanimous consent the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Without objection.
Well, alrighty then. H.R. 1316. Let's take a quick look at that. H.R. 1316. Hope you're enjoying the music. I did turn it down a little bit from yesterday. Let's see here. Is this it? I don't think this is it. Yeah, it's not talking about China at all. 616. No, that's not it. Senate Bill 13. They did say 1316. Or did they say HR? Did they say HR? Maybe this is what it is. Maintaining American superiority by improving Export Control Transparency Act. Senate 722 passed the Senate without amendment by unanimous consent. Yeah, this has to be it. This bill requires the Department of Commerce's Bureau of Industry and Security to annually report to Congress on export control licensing. Under current law, BIS administers and enforces controls on the export of dual-use goods, items with both civilian and military uses, and certain military parts and components. These export controls are implemented primarily under the Export Control Reform Act of 2018. Okay, so there's the 2018 reference. Through the Export Administration regulations. Under this bill, BIS must annually report to Congress on license applications, enforcement actions, and other requests for authorization for the export, re-export, release, and in-country transfer of items subject to the EAR to covered entities. Okay. All right. Well, congratulations to him. He just got his first bill passed, so that's cool. It's always good news. All right, so let's move on to Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. accelerating nuclear materials analysis using AI. PNNL researchers have tapped generative AI and machine learning to take a first step to speed up how quickly officials are able to learn important details about nuclear events. So that's without AI. This is investigation timeline with AI. Much quicker. Alrighty then. Well, there you have it, man. Skynet, hard at work. All right, let's move on. Senate Help Committee, GOP, on the Senate floor last night. Senator John Husted, he discussed how President Trump's big, beautiful bill establishes workforce Pell Grants, increasing access to career or technical-based education for low-income Americans. That is good news. I didn't even know that was even in the big, beautiful bill. Did you know that? That they're offering Pell Grants or the blue-collar equivalent of Pell Grants to those who are trying to get into the blue-collar industry.
Another piece of the big, beautiful bill that a lot of people might not know about, is something that I care a lot about. For decades of my life, I have been working on issues surrounding workforce development. How do we help people get the skills they need to compete for the jobs of today and tomorrow, to earn higher pay, to have job security? And in many cases, we want to do this without having the cost of going to college. We want to help people earn credentials that lead to jobs without the cost or the debt that oftentimes college creates. Well, in this bill, we allow for Pell Grants to be used for workforce credentials to land good jobs. And I know I have something in here that I received from the Ohio Association of Community Colleges and some college trustees, or some community college trustees, that talk about how it will help them expand workforce programs to the people of our state. It's a good, positive change that we made, allowing Pell Grants to be used for workforce credentials, not just for college.
That's good. That's very good. It should have been that way all along. So that's good that they've added that, so you can get a certification in whatever field that you're looking to get into without having to get a full-blown associate's or bachelor's degree, because we definitely need all the help we can get in the blue-collar industry, especially with electricians and plumbers. A lot of those jobs are disappearing. They're aging out. They're getting older, and there's not enough younger people that are willing to take them on, or maybe they're just not thinking about it, or they're not aware of it, or whatever. I don't know, but that's a good thing. So from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, according to probation and parole in the United States in the 2023 year's end, in 2023, an estimated 3,772,000 adults were under community supervision, which is either probation or on parole, which is up 27,900, which is 0.7%, from January 1st of 2023. So it's not substantially up, but that's a lot of people, man. That is a lot of people with a criminal history. Well, active, the active probation or parole. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot less on parole than there are on probation, but that's how it's looking. It was on the steady decline from 2013. With regard to probation and total community supervision, it was on a steady decline, but it looked like parole was hanging fairly steady. It had a very tiny uptick from 2013 up to about, 2018-ish. And then it took a dip down. But it appears that probation is slowly starting to tick up, though. So, I mean, not too surprising coming from blue states, at least, or blue cities, where crime appears to be completely out of control. But it seems like they're not even arresting anybody whenever they go out and doing these riots and lootings and all that shit that they've been doing for, over 5 years at this point. All right, so moving on to USA government news. Breaking, the Treasury Secretary Bessent confirms it first U.S. budget surplus in a decade. Really? Massive tariff income. First June surplus since 2015. Trump's strategy is working. Strong tariffs, tough leverage, real results. America is back and the people are winning. Let's hear what he has to say here.
I think he's created a lot of leverage because he's created an A-B situation. he is able to go to the trading partners and say, look, I am happy to take in this tariff income if you don't want to negotiate. This is a high rate, but the U.S. is taking in massive amounts of tariff income. We had the first June budget surplus since 2015, last month. We reported it this month. And so we are taking in substantial income. So President Trump is creating this leverage by saying, if you don't want to negotiate with me, I sent you a letter with a high rate. Have at the high rate, or come and negotiate in better fashion. Because I'll tell you, what was fascinating for me, and this was President Trump at his best, was the Indonesians came with what I thought was a very good offer out of the blocks. President Trump kept pushing them. He raised the reciprocal rate when he sent them the letter, and 5 iterations later, the Indonesian trade deal was greatly improved, turned into a great deal for both sides.
Good deal. All right, good. First surplus. I'll take his word for it. Since 2015, definitely a big win. I know Democrats, they want to take that money and build housing with it. I'm not 100% opposed to building more houses. We actually need a lot more houses. That's part of the reason why housing has gone up so much, because we've had a housing shortage since right after 2008. But I believe the biggest reason why houses exploded and in cost is directly due to tens of millions of illegal immigrants coming into the country. Most of them are adults, and they got to live somewhere. So anyway, let's just move on from there. So from the GOP, Trump makes gains on economy policy with small business owners, even among Democrats. Really? And that was on CNBC. That's why I wanted to share that. And that's why the GOP decided to share that, because that's CNBC saying that. Winning. House Foreign Affairs Committee majority. President Trump met with Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba yesterday and negotiated a $550 billion trade deal. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs for Americans. I don't want to click on it because it's, come on. Yeah, whatever. I'll just leave it up. So this deal includes tariffs of 15% as well as the opening of Japanese markets to American vehicles and agricultural products. That is awesome. So let's see. New trade deal with Japan worth $550 billion. Going to create thousands of U.S. jobs. Japan is going to pay 15% tariffs. Let's effing go, man. Chairwoman Lisa McClain yesterday marked the largest day in trade history thanks to President Trump. POTUS secured historic trade deals with not only Japan, but also with Indonesia and with the Philippines. He is opening up trade for U.S. exports of agricultural products, I'm assuming, autos, and much more. The deal maker. So I'm not obviously able to read that one, but let's see here. That either, for that matter. We just completed a massive deal with Japan, perhaps the largest deal ever made. They'll invest at Trump's direction $550 billion into the U.S., which will receive 90% of the profits. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. As far as in the Philippines, President Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines is leaving the White House. Oh, I just read this yesterday. It was a beautiful visit. We concluded our trade deal whereby the Philippines is going open market with the United States and zero tariffs. The Philippines will pay a 19% tariff. But in addition, we will work together militarily. It was a great honor to be with the president. He's highly respected in his country, as he should be. He's also a very good, tough negotiator. We extend our warmest regards to the wonderful people of the Philippines. So that is absolutely epic, awesome, great, good, grand, wonderful. So moving on to Director Michael Kratsios. Today, the White House released America's AI action plan to win the global race. We need to out-innovate our competitors, build AI and energy infrastructure, and export American AI around the world. So you can find this information on AI.gov. AI.gov. I wasn't even aware that we had an AI.gov website. Okay, so I'm using the mouse wheel to scroll. That's kind of weird. I have to scroll to move it across. All right, whatever. So, AI action plan. Can I make... See, I knew that's going to mess this up. I'm trying to make it bigger. There we go. The United States is in a race to achieve global dominance in artificial intelligence. Whoever has the largest AI ecosystem will set the global standards and reap broad economic and security benefits. Under President Trump, our nation will win, ushering in a new golden age of innovation, human flourishing, and technological achievement for the American people. America's AI Action Plan has 3 policy pillars: accelerating innovation, building AI infrastructure, and leading international diplomacy and security. And I guess you can see it in action. Okay, so it's just going to get into the nitty-gritty details here. Of course, as I've been saying all video, I will link all of this down into the description if you want to read into this a bit further, or you could just simply go up into your browser and just type in ai.gov. Take you right there. All right, so let's head on down and move on to the CIA. Operations at the CIA are not your average 9-to-5 job. Yeah, no shit. From day one, you'll be protecting national security. So you can go check out CIA.gov/careers, and you can advance your career by protecting the nation. You can find your fit at the agency from over 160 careers essential to our mission. Interested in a career at the CIA? You can also view all the jobs. I'm sure these are not all the jobs that they have. These are just the public ones. I mean, is it going to say, top secret operative for Syria or whatever the fuck? I doubt they're going to put any of that in there. Or maybe that's what all these are. Maybe these are just like secret operatives, but they're just disguised as accountants, administrative professionals, and analytic methodologists. Who knows? Probably not. I'm sure these are all just jobs that the CIA is just looking for, I mean, for lack of a better word, civilians to fulfill these roles. So yeah, if you want, you can apply at the CIA. Just know they're going to put you probably through an insane, rigorous process, probably involving a shitload of lie detector tests, probably insane drug tests, and God knows what else. Psych evaluations, the whole 9 yards. I don't know, or maybe that's just Hollywood filling my head with just fake, stupid propaganda. Who knows? All right, let's move on. Senate Republicans. Not true. The big, beautiful bill protects and strengthens Medicaid for Americans who need it and repealed Democrats' Green New Scam policies that caused prices to skyrocket. Record prices created by Democrats are the only thing moving backwards, and that's in response to Senator Mazie Hirono's post. Trump and Republicans' budget bill guts Medicaid, defunds Planned Parenthood, hikes healthcare premiums, raises energy bills, and slashes SNAP. Look, I mean, Planned Parenthood should be funded by the individual anyway. I mean, if you can't have a baby, then keep your damn legs closed. How about you start with that? Abstinence, abstain. That's what you do. If you're not grown up enough to start a family, then you know what to do. We all know what sex leads to. Anyway, they say time travel is impossible, but Trump and Republicans have managed to take this country backwards yet again. Oh my God, dude, these people are so stupid. For you illegal aliens and people who just aren't working out of sheer laziness, and we don't have to pay for people to kill their unborn children. Thanks. Amen. Have you accomplished anything in Congress? All he's seen you do. Oh, man, I hate it when that happens. All he's seen you do is lie and fearmonger. What exactly have you accomplished? I pray to God Almighty that every Planned Parenthood abortion center is shut down for good. May we honor the Lord Jesus from now on in this country. Amen. But, Senator, the most important question to ask is always, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature? All right. You are so worthless. Okay, all right, I'll be done here. I don't want to dig her too much, but she is getting roasted in the comments. Absolutely bodied. So let's move on to Lindsey Graham. Yay. Everybody just loves Lindsey Graham. Democrats are trying to rewrite the history of the Russia hoax. They have been out to get President Trump since 2016. Now, I know it's only 9 seconds, but can you stomach Lindsey Graham's voice for that long?
To suggest in 2016 they did not try to start the storyline, the Democrats, that Trump was tied to Russia in a nefarious way is reinventing history.
All right. Have I tortured you for long enough? I'm just kidding. I'm just being a little lighthearted. If you're a big fan of Lindsey Graham, you have my apologies. Whatever. I just know that a lot of people are not too crazy about him. So that's why I just decided to have a little bit of fun with that. So this is from Rep. Johnny Olszewski. Day 200 without a vote to lower costs for American families. Really? Instead, Trump's GOP is hiking tariffs, gutting food assistance, and driving up healthcare and utility costs. Families deserve more. Dude, there is so much to unpack there. But anyway, I will give this a play, and let's see what he has to say.
It is now the fourth time I've come to this
I play a little bit
floor
from
with
both
a poster to count the days. We are now 200 days.
Apparently he didn't hear about the big, beautiful bill.
Congress, and sadly, I return with the same message. I wish it weren't so. I've scoured our voting record, trying in vain to find one vote, just one, that would lower costs for American families. The closest I found was a bill that would improve price transparency for concert tickets, but nothing to actually address price gouging. And when it comes to the most basic of necessities...
Now, I will say, and I don't know if he's aware of this at all or not, but as far as the price gouging thing, one thing does come to mind, and that was the egg shortage. Back when the egg shortage was happening earlier this year with, avian flu, was that what it was? That all these chickens had? We didn't lose hardly any of an egg supply at all. It only fell by like 20 million. They on average produce about 780 million eggs per month, and the supply dropped by only 20 million down to 760 million. But yet they were charging us 4 times the amount for a carton of eggs, and they were making record profits like crazy. So yeah, I will agree with them there that there are a lot of companies out there that are gouging the hell out of us and just looking at other companies and saying, well, they're raising their prices, so we're going to raise our prices. For example, I saw 2 liters of Mountain Dew in my local grocery store selling for $3. $3 for a 2 liter of Mountain Dew. I couldn't fucking believe it. I haven't drank soda in years, but I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe that. When I quit drinking soda, 2 liters of Mountain Dew were like $1.50 maybe, which was probably around 2020, give or take. And now it's selling for $3. How in the hell is it that expensive, and why? I mean, corn syrup, I'm sure we don't have a shortage of corn syrup. I mean, that's what it's made out of. We sure as hell don't have a shortage of water. With water and corn syrup and a little bit of artificial flavoring, that's basically all that Mountain Dew's made out of. The same with all the other sodas. There's no reason behind it. And that applies to many other things that are for sale across the board. But yes, we had a supply shortage back in 2020. That was 5 fucking years ago. And it's just greed. That's what it all boils down to. So, I mean, that's the main reason why I decided to give him a chance to say a little bit of what he had to say, because in part, I kind of agree with him that there's really no reason for a lot. Now, there are a lot of companies who did raise their prices, and they've got whatever good reason that they have to raise them. However, there's a lot of companies that did it just for the hell of it, just for the greed of it.
There hasn't been one serious effort from House leadership to lower costs. Instead, President Trump and this GOP majority are doing the opposite, driving up costs through tariffs.
Just say the quiet part out loud, dude. You want to do price
fixing? Makes things even worse by ending food programs and causing both healthcare costs and utility bills to skyrocket.
And I think a lot of the reason utility bills skyrocketed is because Democrats insisted on this green policy bullshit, trying to roll out solar panels, wind turbines that are very ineffective. You have to store all that shit on battery power during certain times of the year when they're not as reliable. That's only going to drive up costs even more. Plus, all this AI shit that we're getting, if they don't start building nuclear power plants or start building, I don't even know, hydroelectric maybe, coal power plants maybe, just any kind of power plant at this point, is they keep bringing more of this AI stuff online, and as they keep trying to sell more EV vehicles, electric vehicles to people, that's only going to drive up the cost of our electricity. It really is. Because AI is extremely heavily dependent on electricity. It's going to be very taxing on our electrical grid, just as EVs already are. And that's also a large reason why our electricity and our energy costs and our utilities have gone up, because EVs, they're not that cheap to charge. And anybody who's got an electric vehicle, they're now demanding a lot more electricity from the grid than they were before they had it, obviously.
And so I again call on House leadership to bring legislation to this floor that delivers meaningful relief to all our constituents.
Why don't you be specific, dude? Look, aren't you in the House? It says right here, you're in the House, house.gov. So why don't you introduce legislation? Why the hell are you demanding everybody else do it? Why don't you do it, dude? You're the one that's got the podium. Let's hear, where are your solutions? What the hell do you plan on doing to fix the problem? Because the only thing that I'm hearing that he might do to fix it is by implementing price fixing, which is not good at all. We've seen that in many countries in the past, and I'm sure that we've probably had it done here. maybe that during wartime or something like that. But I mean, Venezuela, they found out the hard way that price fixing can be catastrophic. For them, the cost to produce a loaf of bread was $3. That's how much that the factories at the absolute cheapest for the materials that goes into making bread. What is it? Flour, sugar, maybe baking powder, yeast, whatever it is. All the materials, including the electricity to cook the bread and package it and have it shipped to wherever they're shipping it to locally. On average, it costs about $3 per bag of bread. But the Venezuelan government did a price fix. You are not allowed to sell a bag of bread anywhere in the country for more than $1. That's it. If you sell it for more than $1, it is illegal. You will be arrested and you will be criminally prosecuted. So what are they going to do? They're just going to take a $2 hit on every single bag of bread. They're going to go bankrupt within a month, if not quicker than that. So what happened? Well, Venezuelans didn't get any more bread. That's what happened. The bread disappeared. Nobody made bread anymore because who the hell's going to make bread that costs $3 to make and they can only sell it for $1? So that's just one of many examples as to why price fixing can be extraordinarily dangerous. But it just sounds to me like that's really what he wants to do. However, like I said, I will agree that inflation has gotten crazy and there are probably a lot of companies out there that have increased the prices of their products, and they honestly had no business doing so because the cost of the goods, the materials, and everything else that goes into producing those products didn't essentially go up. I believe Hershey's, and you can look this up yourself, I believe that Hershey's admitted to that their supply chain did not get any more expensive over the last several years, but on the other hand, the cost for Hershey's doubled or tripled in cost, meaning they didn't have to raise the cost of it. They just wanted to. So that's why if you go into your local grocery store, if you go and you buy a 6-pack of Hershey's, it used to be, what, $5, maybe $4.50 before COVID, and now it's like damn near $10 just to make some s'mores or some shit. Anyway, so let's move on from there. So from Steve Cohen, this GOP-led Congress has earned an F for failure, fraud, and forgetting the American people. They slashed healthcare. No. They gutted food aid. Don't think so. And taken away decades of clean energy progress that hurts us and the planet. And then skipped town to avoid voting to release the Epstein files. Okay, I will agree with you there. I would like to see the Epstein files released. It's a failure. So this dude's talking about slashing healthcare, gutting food aid, and then taking away decades of clean energy progress. So will he give any specific examples of that in this minute and 16 seconds? I somehow have a feeling that he won't.
We are going to adjourn and not do the people's business because we've thus far gotten an F for the work for the people, this Congress.
Well, what about Biden's last 4 years? Did he get an A+ for everything that he did?
We've taken health care away from hundreds of thousands of people.
No, we didn't.
We've taken SNAP.
Elaborate. Tell us. Because everything that I keep reading, we haven't taken healthcare away from a single person. Nobody's lost any healthcare. You're full of shit.
Nutritional sustenance away from tens and hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, yeah, SNAP benefits. Yeah, they are going to go away for a lot of people because they're able-bodied, because they're adults who can work, and they should. And too many people have been sitting on food stamps without working for decades, generationally. Generational welfare recipients. And that's got to end. And frankly, most people, statistically, are happy about that. They don't want their next door neighbors sitting doing nothing when they are perfectly able-bodied. They're not severely disabled. Their fingers work. They can type on a keyboard. They can talk on a phone. A lot of them, they do talk on their phone all day, and they type or they play video games or whatever the fuck they do all day, and they're not working. And yeah, damn straight, a lot of people are losing their SNAP benefits. But if you do fall on hard times, I don't even know how to call it, like not recreation of it, but just this redesign of SNAP benefits. Instead of them getting them indefinitely, I believe it's a 2-year maximum that you can receive welfare benefits before you're cut off. So you got a lot of time to figure out what it is you're going to do. I mean, frankly, 2 years, that's enough time to get an associate's degree, to be honest. So, I mean, I agree with it. Obviously, he doesn't. Obviously, Democrats don't agree with it because they love, oh man, they love the welfare state.
We've made injuries to the earth, God's earth, which we're here to preserve and we only use. We've taken away from women the right to go to Planned Parenthood.
Oh, good
to have
grief,
health
dude.
care
Planned Parenthood's
that they
still
need.
there,
We've
dumbass.
taken away
It's still
protections for clean energy to change the rate of growth in global warming.
It's ineffective, dude. It's ineffective. Nuclear energy, you get a much better return on investment. You can look it up yourself. Much better return on investment with nuclear energy than you do with wind and solar, especially wind. Wind is an absolute 100% insane waste of money. Completely ineffective, especially when, when the wind's not moving, or perhaps solar panels when, the weather's bad, whenever there's perhaps a snowstorm that covers all the solar panels, or we have cloudy days. I mean, it just goes on and on, man. Clean energy, no dice. No, nuclear energy is good. And hydroelectric energy, that's good. Clean energy and this go green bullshit, no, it's stupid. It's ineffective. We wasted trillions, with a T, trillions of dollars on it at this point. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And what did the American people get for these trillions of dollars? Did we get cheaper electricity that we were promised 10, 15 years ago? Fuck no, we didn't.
That affects our planet and affects our future with hotter and hotter summers and more problems. Flash floods, fires, disasters. This Congress has earned an
It's all Trump's fault.
I am ashamed to be a part of this Congress, but I will, because people need to stand up, speak the truth,
and
stand up for things that the American people have stood for a long time, like justice, due process, fairness, caring about the little guy, caring about giving people something who have not enough, but not something to people who have too much, millionaires and billionaires. I yield back the balance of my time. And F.
So what are you going to do about it, man? You're just going to sit there and complain about the shit that your party is largely responsible for in the first place? Just spend. Just take more taxes from people. Just tax us up into oblivion. Let's just make the government just take care of everything. No thanks. Not interested. Nope, there's other ways to do it, and it's not through whatever the hell that you're fucking talking about. All right, so from Steve Cohen, the algorithms that Musk has put to this Twitter are just totally absurd and directed toward Democrats to limit our say here. That's hilarious, man. With 80,000 followers and only a handful of likes and hardly any viewers, he's complaining that he's not getting many likes. Look, he only got 13 likes for this. With 80,000 followers, it's bullshit. Elon had rigged this worse than he rigged the Pennsylvania election, as Trump told us he did. He is complaining because he's a representative in Congress and he's only getting, a dozen likes or so. Look, I've got about 53,000 people who are following me over on X. I've been on X a lot over the last few years, and I follow probably about 50,000 people. I follow just about everybody who follows me. Actually, I do follow everybody who follows me. And same thing with me. When I post something, it rarely gets more than maybe 15 or 20 likes. It's just the way it is. If you don't have anything interesting to say, dude, or if you don't have something that just jumps right off the page, you're not going to get a lot of likes. Frankly, you're probably just boring, man. That's just the way it is. You're not being shadow banned. You're not being suppressed, dude. You're a government official. Are you kidding? If anything, in your local area, your X account is probably being elevated above most other accounts just because you're representing those constituents in your area. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is being shadow banned. I don't know. What do I know? But anyway, on the other hand, Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, she's got 13,000 likes for hers because, I don't know, maybe she's just got more important shit to say, such as, CNN is such a fraud. They asked me to come on to discuss Epstein multiple times, but they canceled every time, LOL. And also, she said, as soon as we return from break, I'll be calling for a subpoena through GOP oversight and Comey and John Brennan and James Clapper regarding their roles in the fraudulent Russia hoax. Retain your attorneys now and start raising money. You're going to need it. Amen, man. A lot of likes for that one. Yep, people are loving that. So this is from Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren. I can't support this funding bill while the Trump administration illegally withholds funds that'll help veterans, and Republicans claw back bipartisan funding to gain Trump's favor. I voted no. Dude, she always votes no. Is it a Republican? Is it a Republican that's introduced? Oh, an R? Yeah? No. No, I don't want to vote for it. Anything? If it's Republicans, no. Hell no. I mean, that's just what she does. She always votes no on this shit. So anyway, Elizabeth Warren won't back VA funding package, firing a warning shot to Republicans. She's constantly firing shots at Republicans. She's constantly pissed off about something. So she didn't elaborate in her post at all, but let's see if maybe we can get a little bit of what the hell she might be talking about in this on Politico. Of course, Politico is pretty hard left-leaning. So anyway, in opposing a spending package on the Senate floor this week, the high profile, she's so fancy and so important. Progressive could be sending a message that the Democratic Party won't be cooperative in the fall funding fight. She said Tuesday she'll vote against the Senate's first batch of government funding bills, signaling early hardball by Democrats ahead of a shutdown deadline about 10 weeks away from now. In a statement, she and Progressive standard bearer cited Trump administration moves to cut and freeze VA funding as the reason for opposing bipartisan funding bills on the Senate floor this week. I mean, is that really true? Is the Trump administration really trying to cut the VA? Something tells me that they're framing this in a way that is completely not true in any way, shape, or form. It says since January, about 17,000 VA jobs have been vacated through retirements, resignations, and hiring freezes. Okay, well, that doesn't mean they're cutting the VA. That just means that a lot of jobs are just, they're retiring. They're being vacated, with that number expected to grow in the coming months. I mean, for all we know, I mean, look, how many people are in the military are actively using the VA? I mean, it could be possible that a lot of the elders from the World War II era, they're dying off very quickly, or they have been over the last 20 some odd years. The same with the Korean War, also with the Vietnam War. It could be just as simple as that there's just not as many veterans that are using the VA as there were in years past. It could just be that simple. So, I mean, we don't need to fully staff the entire thing if there's, I don't know, 20% less veterans that are accessing the VA than there were 10 years ago, for example. I mean, it could just be as simple as that. But anyway, I'll go ahead and link this as well. And we will move on because I think I'm actually getting close. Am I getting close to the end? Yeah, I'm getting kind of close to the end here. But how long have I been going for? Yeah, an hour and a half, man. Yeah, I got to kind of get a move on it. So Rapid Response 47, President of the United States on the one big, beautiful bill. Quote, in one historic package, we delivered the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, and the largest border security investment in American history. There's never been anything like it. Let's hear this.
In one historic package, we delivered the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, and the largest border security investment in American history. And we got no tax on tips. Think of it, no tax on Social Security.
Hell yeah,
we have no tax on overtime.
Hell yeah, son.
It's just been, there's never been anything like it.
And they are, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is looking to pass legislation that will not tax your house, your primary residence, if you sell it. Capital gains tax. She's looking to get rid of that. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine selling your house for however much you'd sell it for, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, and you don't have to pay, I believe it's 35%, I think it is, capital gains tax on the sale of your house? That would be so freaking amazing, man. That'd make a lot of people happy. I think even a lot of Democrats might even be on board with that, but maybe not. Maybe not. They love taxing. They love clawing money away from Americans. So let's move on to Rep. Jody Arrington. President Trump's trade deal with Indonesia is a massive win for the food, fuel, and fiber capital of the world. The agreement will boost West Texas cotton, wheat, and energy exports to the world's fourth most populous country and eliminate tariffs on 99% of American goods. Hell yeah. I applaud President Trump and Ambassador Greer for their tireless work and look forward to continuing the fight to deliver for farmers, ranchers, and manufacturers and put America first. So this is from President Trump's Truth Social account. It is my great honor to announce our trade agreement with the Republic of Indonesia as represented by their highly respected president, Prabowo Subianto. It is agreed that Indonesia will be open market to American industrial and tech products and agricultural goods by eliminating 99% of their tariff barriers. The United States of America will now sell American-made products to Indonesia at a tariff rate of 0%, while Indonesia will pay a 19% on all of their products coming into the USA, the best market in the world. In addition, Indonesia will supply the United States with their precious critical minerals as well as sign big deals worth tens of billions of dollars to purchase Boeing aircraft, American farm products, and American energy. This deal is a huge win for our automakers, tech companies, workers, farmers, ranchers, and manufacturers. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Don't you gotta love it? So this is from, oh yeah, this is the last one. It's the last one I got. We had, from Rep. Don Bacon, we had over 7,600 participate in our virtual town hall. We thank those who joined and for sharing opinions and concerns. And I just wanted to point this out that it looks like Congress, they're probably not going to stick around D.C. next month. And if he had that many people participate in a virtual town hall, he should really hold an in-person town hall and get all of those people in that crowd on camera and just show the amount of people that are there, because I believe he was talking about the Epstein situation, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the purpose of the town hall. Let's see here. The most I've ever seen was 400. Let's see. His constituents want to know about his support for the big, beautiful bill. Reconciliation bill, I'm much more good than bad. If we want an economy that's moving, that's growing at 3% GDP or better, we have to stabilize our tax policy. I thought I read somewhere that a lot of people showed up. Oh, yeah, here we go. Bacon was also asked about releasing the Epstein files. He said he supports it, but wasn't happy that last week's resolution was attached to another bill. Quote, there were so many victims that I think the country deserves to know as much truth that's out there, he said. Bacon, who announced he would not seek re-election, and his priorities in the final stretch of his office are bringing a new VA hospital to Omaha. Anyway,
Well, Nebraska Congressman Don Bacon holds another virtual town hall tonight, the second one this year.
And tonight, a wide range of topics from the Epstein files to the country's new spending plan.
I think that's why most people showed up.
KETV Newswatch 7's Aaron Hagerty was on the call tonight. He's here in the studio now.
Yeah, Rob, Julie, Bacon tonight said he supported the president's proposed cuts last week only after most of global health funding through PEPFAR was restored, and he said there was a commitment to fund local public broadcasting but not national.
It was virtual, but Congressman Don Bacon's office says more than 7,600 people attended his town hall Monday night.
The most in-person town halls, the most we've ever had is 400. And so this is an opportunity to really speak to multiple times the amount of people.
His constituents wanted to know about his support for the so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
The reconciliation bill has much more good than bad. If we want to get an economy that's moving, that's growing at 3% GDP or better, we had to stabilize our tax policies.
But he admitted he doesn't like everything about it.
I feel like there should be some, whether it's staff but also Medicaid, provisions for those who are here legally.
A constituent named Mike from Omaha said Congress should go much further than the proposed Dignity Act on immigration reform.
No Medicare for illegals.
The human costs of the Trump administration's immigration policies continue to mount every day.
I think we found something that brings a vast consensus of people on board, and we can't just be doing presidential executive orders.
Bacon was also asked about releasing the Epstein files. He said he's for it, but he didn't like that last week's resolution was attached to another bill.
There are so many victims that I think the country deserves to know as much truth as that's out there. That said, I don't know that there's a lot of information in these files because they would have been leaked a long time ago.
No. Not sure I agree with that. I just
Bacon
think
doesn't expect a vote on the Epstein files, though, until after the House's 5-week recess, so after Labor Day. Bacon concluded by saying his priorities in his final year and a half in Congress are bringing a new...
All right, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I think releasing the Epstein files, in my opinion, it would probably hurt Democrats a lot more than Republicans, because a lot of people who visited Epstein Island were probably major donors, and I doubt they were donating to Republicans. That's just my opinion. I mean, Democrats, they've been very vocal about releasing the Epstein files. If you ask my opinion, I think they're doing that just a virtue signal, just a posture, and just to make it sound like that they are truly interested in seeing the Epstein files. But I don't think they really are interested in it. I think they simply know that it's just not going to happen, because they already know, because they're in the secret club. We aren't. They know that the Epstein files have already been destroyed. So they can come on here on X and get on the news and say, release the files, President Trump released them, just knowing good damn and well that there are no files to release because they probably already destroyed them during the Biden administration. That's just my opinion. But anyway, that's all I got for you today for Wednesday, July the 23rd of 2025. If you enjoyed the video, please give the channel a subscribe and like the video if you get a chance. And I'll be back with another one tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching, and God bless America.